You can play almost any video game from any genre you want. Choices are endless. I mean, there's more flavors of games than there are Baskin and Robbins, and they got a lot of flavors. But when it comes to the thrill of the chase, the taste of victory, and let's face it, the sweet, sweet taste of revenge, nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a good shooting game. Basically, it's like the oldest in the book, the oldest of genre of video games that stands tall, proud, and undefeated. But as they say, not every shot hits the mark, and not every game can make it to the top. Some shooters are simply legendary, while others are like fireworks. They may shine brightly, but after a moment they disappear. So, to save you from this disastrous experience, we've chosen some of the best shooting games of all time that you can play for every platform. These games have it all: the action, the intensity, the adrenaline rush, and most importantly, the fun. But before we dive in, I just want to clarify one thing. This is not a ranking, okay? Every game is its own unique, beautiful, brilliant thing, and let's be honest, ranking shooting games is like comparing apples to oranges and potatoes to potatoes and yada yada. Both are delicious, but for different reasons. So let's take a look at some of the juiciest titles in the shooting game universe. To kick things off, we have a game that completely changed the face of Wolfenstein. While the series had its fair share of ups and downs, the Wolfenstein, the New Order, brought it back to life with a bang. Instead of simply being a mindless Nazi-killing game, it offered a compelling and emotional story with well-developed characters and intense combat that will make your heart race. The game also introduced the perk system, which added a new layer of depth to the gameplay. And well, you can also play other entries in the series, like Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, Youngblood, Cyberpilot, and much more. But if you want to experience the best of what Wolfenstein has to offer, the New Order will not disappoint you. From PlayStation 4 to Xbox One and PC, this game is available on multiple platforms except Nintendo Switch, but you can play Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus on it. So yeah, go ahead and kill some Nazi scum. You know you want to. GoldenEye 007. This is a first-person shooter game released on Nintendo 64 in 1997, developed by Rare and published by Nintendo, and is one of the best shooting games of all time. Based on the 1995 James Bond film, The GoldenEye, the player controls the secret agent James Bond. I love talking like this. You have to prevent a criminal syndicate from using a satellite weapon. The player navigates a series of levels to complete objectives such as recovering or destroying objects, while shooting enemies and progressing through each level. In each level, the player must complete a set of objectives, while computer-controlled components try to hinder the player's progress. The game features more than 20 weapons, including pistols, submachine guns, assault rifles, a sniper rifle, grenades, and throwing knives. In multiplayer mode, up to 4 players can compete in death scenarios using split screen. The next game that I would love to share is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah! This online tactical shooter video game was developed by Ubisoft in 2015, and even after 9 years, it's still considered one of the top games in the FPS genre. The graphics are super realistic. It makes it really feel like you're really there watching a real-life action-packed movie. It's really great. But the real highlight of this gameplay is the gameplay itself. It requires strategic thinking, teamwork, and quick reflexes to survive and win matches. With over 50 unique characters, destructible environments, and constantly evolving tactics, every match in Rainbow Six Siege is a new and thrilling experience. And even if you play it for hundreds of hours, you will find something new to learn and improve upon. The next game on our list is a legend in its own right, Duke Nukem 3D. It's one of the most iconic first-person shooter games that ruled the 90s with its bombastic gameplay, fun mechanics, and witty writing. It's not just about shooting demons and aliens, I mean mostly, but it's also about experiencing the badass persona of our protagonist, Duke Nukem. He's not just a mindless killing machine, he's got a personality and likes long walks on the beach. But he does crack jokes, mostly out of context, but who cares? And he saves chicks, and that's what he does. So, if you want to experience some nostalgia and see what real shooters are all about, then grab a shotgun, some steroids for extra damage, and blast away some pig cops into a messy pork chop pulp. Plus, it is available on almost all platforms, so you have no excuse. None. If you're someone who loves robbing banks, hijacking cars, and pulling off the perfect heist with your friends, then Payday 2 is the game for you. This cooperative first-person shooter game is all about working together with your team to complete a daring heist and get away with the money. With its diverse customization options for weapons, armor, and characters, you can truly make your own mark in the game. The reload animations, the sounds, and the graphics of this 2013 release are simply mind-blowing. You get all shooketh and you're like, what? Now, yeah, there are some bugs and glitches, but this game is is not buggy as hell as some people claim. They exaggerate, okay? You can play it on almost any platform, including Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox, Windows, and even Linux. And if you want to taste the fresh and upgraded version, then you should without a second thought to jump into Payday 3, which was released in September 2023. Moving on to our next game, we have Borderlands 2. This looter shooter game, in my opinion, is the perfect example of how a sequel should be made. While it has some looting and shooting mechanics as the first game, honestly it's way better. The storyline is better, the graphics are better, the characters are way too fun to forget, and even if you play it for hours, you won't easily get bored because of the variety of weapons, side quests which are super fun, and missions that it offers. While there are 6 games in the series, including the latest one, Borderlands 3, New Tales, and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I personally feel that Borderlands 2 is the best in the series, but what's your opinion? Do you agree with me, or do you have a different favorite in the series? Let me know down in the comments. Now, if Modern Warfare 2 was the king in your eyes, then Battlefield Bad Company 2 is absolutely a worthy contender for the throne. This first-person shooter is filled with so much action, explosion, and chaos, it's hard to not get addicted and also believe that it was produced secretly by Michael Bay. He's the dude who did the Transformers movies. While the single-player campaign might not be as strong as some would hope, the multiplayer mode more than makes up for it. With diverse maps, weapons, and game modes, you can spend hours upon hours playing with your friends or against opponents from all over the world. If you look at each map in Bad Company 2, you can clearly see that each objective area is designed with full destruction in mind. You can destroy pretty much everything from buildings to vehicles, and their satisfaction is indescribable. From AI enemies to realistic gameplay mechanics, Bad Company 2 will truly put your shooting and strategic skills to the test. Now, I wouldn't hesitate to say that Titanfall 2 is one of the most underrated games in the first-person shooter genre. While the first game had its flaws and struggled to compete with other big titles like Call of Duty and Battlefield, Titanfall 2 managed to improve on every aspect and deliver a truly enjoyable experience. The best way to describe this game is fast-paced and action-packed, with a unique blend of sci-fi elements, fluid movement mechanics, and intense firefights. You can't help but feel like a badass while playing this game, and what I find truly impressive is that the game manages to balance its single-player and multiplayer modes perfectly. The campaign is engaging, well-written, and offers a good mix of platforming, puzzles, and shooting. On the other hand, the multiplayer mode is just a pure adrenaline rush. It's fast-paced and chaotic and offers a variety of options to customize your gameplay experience. One thing is for sure though, that once you start playing it, it's kind of hard to put down. Now, if you're a die-hard fan of Half-Life, then you should not miss playing its sequel, Half-Life 2. What I personally love about both games equally is that the sequel definitely surpasses the original. And we all know not all sequels actually do that. You know, some sequels kind of suck. This 2004 game features a thrilling campaign that is jam-packed with exhilarating combat, immersive open world building, and mind-boggling physics-based puzzles that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The game's story is more impactful and features well-written characters that will stay with you long after the credits roll. If you want my opinion, I would say that Half-Life 2 is one of the best games ever made by Valve. Why would I say that? Well, it's simple. The game won 39 freaking Game of the Year awards! It has been cited as one of the best shooter games in the industry, and now it can be played on multiple platforms including Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Mac OS, and Linux. So if you haven't played this out-of-the-world game yet, you really should give it a shot. Trust me, it is worth it. Now, when I talk about, say, the best shooting games of all time, it's impossible and it would be a downright crime against gaming humanity to not say the word Doom. Yes. Well, I mean after. Because, after Maze, War, and Wolfenstein 3, Doom is the game that set the stage for all future first-person shooters. There are so many versions of this game, like the original Doom, which is now 31 years old, oh my gosh, Doom 2, Final Doom, and even the latest Doom Eternal, which is also a masterpiece. But my personal favorite, and probably most people's, is the 2016 version of Doom. This game takes everything that made the original Doom great, extreme violence, a hellish atmosphere, fast-paced action, and then cranks it up to 1 billion, and you go, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But you love it. It's got revamped graphics, intense gameplay, and a killer soundtrack. The 2016 version truly lives up to its legacy. If you haven't played the 1993 version, then Doom 2016 will definitely make you a fan of the franchise. The next shooter that I would like to share is Overwatch. Well, Overwatch 2 is the latest installment of the series, but it's not as good. The 2016 cross-platform game is like the magnum opus of Blizzard Entertainment, which also gave us classics like Warcraft and Diablo. And they're still making Diablos. It's like, holy freaking cow. Anyways, there's tons of super interesting characters and storylines to explore, and you'll never get bored of them. Overwatch 2 is a very good game, and you can use different skills and abilities with your chosen character. You can also play alone, alone or in team-based modes, which adds another level of excitement. The only downside of this game is that you can get a bit toxic and competitive, like very competitive. But if you just enjoy the game without worrying about winning or losing, you'll have lots of fun. While its community kind of sucks, the game doesn't, and in the end, that's all that matters. I've heard a lot of praise for Far Cry 2, and don't get me wrong, it's great. But I think Far Cry 3 really took everything that made FC2 great and made it even better. The environment, storyline, and voice acting are millions of miles better than that of FC2. Now, while FC2 had a darker, more intense atmosphere, FC3's vibrant and beautiful environment added a whole new level of immersion for me. The storyline is also more sophisticated and fascinating, with well-developed characters that you can't help but become invested in. Plus, the gameplay mechanics in FC3 are smoother, more refined. It's a perfect blend of action and exploration, with new weapons and vehicles, and more extensive map to explore. FC3 is the ultimate open-world shooter experience, and with more recent releases of Far Cry 5 and Far Cry 6, it's a great time to revisit the series and experience where it all began. Both new versions are awesome and are definitely worth playing, I will say. Now, if you're looking for a classic shooter game that defines the FPS genre, then I highly recommend Halo. Now, while you have a lot on the table, you could play Halo Combat Evolved, the 2021, Halo Infinite, or Halo Wars 2 Awakening, the Nightmare. But for me, and I bet most gamers, the real gems are Halo 2 and 4. Oh yes. Both games are masterpieces in their own right. It's tough to pick a favorite between the two. Halo 2 is a 2004 first-person shooter game that has everything you could ask for in a shooter game: an engaging storyline, fierce combat, innovative gameplay mechanics. But what makes this iconic is its multiplayer mode, which forever changed the way online gaming was perceived. On the other hand, Halo 4 is a 2012 game that kicks off a new trilogy in the Halo saga. It takes place 4 years after the events of Halo 3 and has a futuristic sci-fi fiction setting that is both captivating and immersive. When you play Halo 4, you'll be transported to a whole new world where humans are only one of many interstellar civilizations. The game has amazing storyline, great graphics, intense gameplay that will make your heart race. So it doesn't matter if you start with Halo 2, Halo 4, or any other game in the series, you are guaranteed to have an unforgettable experience. It's just meaningless to make a best shooting game list of all time without mentioning Quake. Quake isn't just a game, it's a piece of history, alright? It will always remain iconic in the gaming world. While all games that were mentioned above are great FPS games, Quake is what laid the foundation for all of them. It's the game that introduced us to 3D first-person shooters and revolutionized the gaming industry in ways we could never have imagined. The graphics may seem outdated now, but back in 1996, they was like, whoa, this is advanced. And with the recent re-release in 2021, Quake got a much-deserved facelift. The graphics are now enhanced, the sound effects and music have been remastered, and some levels have even been touched up. It's the perfect opportunity for old fans to relive their memories and for new players to experience a classic game in all of its glory. Just like its name suggests, Quake will shake you to your core and leave an impact that will last a lifetime. The last game on this list is BioShock: The Collection. The Epic Pack features the entire BioShock series, including BioShock, BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, which you can play on any platform. Each game in this series is a masterpiece that will take you on a journey through the immersive worlds of Rapture and Columbia. And with upgraded graphics, new textures, and smoother gameplay, BioShock: The Collection is the ultimate way to experience these games. And while $60 may not be the cheapest price for a video game, trust me, every penny you spend on this is worth it. You can also purchase each game separately, but if you want to dive into the BioShock universe, then I recommend getting the entire package. And there you have it, our list of some of the best shooting games of all time that you can play on almost any gaming platform. But this list is by no means exhaustive, and there are countless other great shooter games like Turbo, Overkill, Metro Exodus, Killzone 2, Team Fortress 2, Arma 3, and many more that are also worth mentioning. However, the games that I have shared in this video will provide you with unmatched entertainment, intense action, and unforgettable experiences that you won't find anywhere else because my selections are dope. Now, I hope this list has piqued your interest and inspired you to try out some of these amazing shooter games. If you think I missed out on anything, please do let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations as well. And in the end, as always, if you love what you see, then don't hesitate to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting gaming content. Until next time, pick up your controller and shoot your way to victory in these incredible shooter games.